Hello and welcome to the Thrift Flip Road Trip. I chose to do Christmas in July flips, and I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of one of my flips that I did. These tiny little bookends. They turned out so cute. So stay tuned and see what they looked like before and the process that I did to make them look this adorable. Let's get started. So I got this little Noel sign at Goodwill, and it was half price for orange, and this was an orange tag. And I'm going to take my little sanding block. I got all the stickers off, and I'm going to give it a little sand, take off all the little embellishments. Now, these were kind of stuck on and was a little difficult to get off, and there were actually some little nails in there. Now, how they got those little nails in there, or tacks or whatever they were, I don't know. They were difficult to get out. I had to get my needle nose pliers and pull them out. They were glued on, and then they had all those little tacks in there, nails. I don't know. It was interesting. Anyway, I got it all out, got it all cleaned up, and then I'm going to give it a couple of coats of Marquee by DIY paint. And then I had these little stars that I got from Amazon. And it was a big pack of just random size little small stars. So I picked out these of the size that I wanted. Now I'm going to take this weathered wood by DIY, and I'm going to mix it with some SALTWASH. I get all my DIY paints and my SALTWASH from Sammy at Unicorn Dust Designs on her website, unicorndustdesigns.com. And you can go over there and you can find all kinds of wonderful goodies, DIY products, and also some thrifted items and some items that she has actually created and DIY'd herself that are amazing. So go check out her website. It'll be linked in the description box below. So I'm really just giving it a messy coat on the back side, and I am dabbing and stippling the paint on the front side because I want to give these little letters some texture. And then when I got all that done and it was all completely dry, I'm going to take Faded Burlap by DIY, and I'm just going to paint it over one thin coat. I don't try to get full coverage here because we're going to distress it back a little bit. So I'm just giving it a good messy coat, and some places it's good coverage, some places it's not, and that's okay. The back, super messy coat. So you can see here I'm just using a light hand and enough paint to just get a messy coat, not being really particular about it. Then I'm going to take, when it's completely dry, I'm going to take my sanding block and sand the edges, and then I tried to make like some little lines in it. It didn't work out that great, but I went ahead and sanded over it across the top, and that worked out really good. So I just did all four of the letters in this same kind of fashion and made them all kind of look a little cohesive, and I think they turned out really cute. They look very worn and weathered. Then I took some, I think this is Vintage Linen by DIY, and just dry brushed some on there because I thought it looked a little bit dull. It just needed a little bit of highlighting. So I just dry brushed some of that white on there to give it a little extra life. And now I'm going to take some of that and put it on the little base, I'm going to call that the baseboard. Now I am sealing it with Big Top by DIY, because we want to seal our DIY paint because it is clay-based, and when it gets wet, it will reactivate the paint. And guess what? You're going to have a big old mess on your project that you worked so hard on if you don't seal this paint, because it will come off. So I seal all the letters, fronts, sides, backs, interiors, exteriors, all of it. Now at the top of this, on each side, I'm going to drill a small little hole so that I can take this old piece of wire that I picked up off of our 4th of July parade float. It was going in the trash, and I said, nope, I need this little piece of rusted wire. And yes, they kind of made fun of me, but that's okay. And I'm going to bend it and twist it and get it all in there until it works as a little hanger. There we go. Cute, cute. Now I'm going to just glue these letters on. I start placing them on there. I decide I like them to be a little cockeyed. I'm just going to use a little hot glue, and it held it nicely. Press it down on there. I'm going to do that for all 4 letters. When I decide which direction I want them to tilt. Oh, not the same way, opposite way. There we go. I guess I felt like I needed to show you how to glue every letter down. Okay, then we're going to take those little stars that we painted and glue them on the N and the L, the straight lines of the N and the L. This is looking a little bit like an Americana Christmas DIY, but that's okay because we all have different tastes and we all like different styles of Christmas decor. Now that top little star was a little crooked, so I had to go rip it off and I started to say sew it back on. Oh boy, glue it back on. Now I just made 2 little twine bows, one a tiny bit bigger than the other so that I could layer them. And then I cut the little tails off. Just glued it down, cut the little tails off, made them however long I wanted them. And now I had that star that I took off of this originally. Whoop, that came off. Let's just glue that back down again. Let's try this again. There we go. I think I pulled up on it before it was really dry. Okay, this little star was originally on this piece that I had pulled off, and I just painted it to match the little 4 stars that were on the N and the L. And this is how it turned out. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think about this DIY. The Thrift Flip Road Trip is hosted by Crafting Cousins and Unicorn Dust Designs every other month, the 2nd Thursday. It's an open playlist. Anyone can join. And we just take thrift flips, garage sale items, and make them beautiful. How fun is that? So if that's something you're interested in, contact one of the hosts and they'll be glad to get you hooked up so you can join us next time. Let's get back to the video. This little sign came out of a stack of signs that was going in the trash, and I saved them. I'm going to give it 2 coats of DIY. This is not DIY paint, that was folk art paint in black. And then I have this stencil from Essential Stencil. I do not know why that is so hard for me to say. But I'm going to use beadboard to do the letters. And I dip my brush in the paint and I wipe off as much of the paint as I can to still have paint on there. And then in a circular motion, I just rub it on there. So I do that for the entire lettering. We're going to do Queen Bee on the stars. So I do that on all the "O Come All Ye Faithful," which is one of my favorite Christmas hymns. I love Christmas hymns. I love everything about Christmas that points to our Lord and Savior. So we're going to this one I'm using a little dauber that I got in a package from Michael's, and I decided to use that. Then I decided to, after it dried, to go back over it with a small stencil brush. Now the big reveal. This is always the nerve-wracking part. Take the tape off. Aha! It turned out great. But I don't really like those little disconnected lines. Sometimes they look okay. But for this particular project, I didn't want them, so I took a tiny little paintbrush and just filled those in. Now I'm going to take my measuring tape and I'm going to measure from each side so I can drill some holes to make a hanger. So take my drill with a big old drill bit and drill some holes in there. And then I'm going to take this black and white check ribbon. I'm going to tie a big knot in the end to keep it from pulling all the way through. I'm going to do that on both sides. See how long I want it. That's about how long I want it. I'll poke it through, tie a big knot. Sometimes I have to tie it and then tie another knot on top of that knot until I get it big enough that it won't go through the hole. I may have made the hole a little bit big, and I decided I didn't want all that extra sticking out. So what I did was I hot glued it around the knot to make it a nice smooth knot. Then I just made a little bow, and I'm just going to glue that right to the center, and this one is done. Super, super easy. Flip to make that sign have new life and have something to remind me to be faithful to Jesus, not just at Christmas time, but all year round. These little tiny bookends are so adorable. I got them for $1.99 each, but I believe that they were half price because I rarely pay for anything full price, especially at the thrift store. And I started out painting them with marquee. Didn't like that color, so I mixed a little bit of cherry picked in with the marquee. Still didn't like that color. I wanted it to be a true Christmas red, so I used this bright red acrylic paint by Apple Barrel, and this is the color that I was looking for. So I already had a coat of paint on the other color with the other colors, so I just gave it one really good coat of the red paint, and it turned out just the color I wanted. Now I'm gonna take, pretty sure this is beadboard by DIY, and I'm just going to dry brush it pretty heavily. You'll see how much. And you know, dry brushing is just personal preference. If you like it or don't like it, you wouldn't have to do it, but it just brings out all the details here. You can see I kind of slowed this down a little bit so you can really see all the details that came out in those raised areas. You can achieve the same thing with waxes. This one, I just chose to do this white because I thought it made it look a little snowy. We're going for a Christmas look. I had a couple little Christmas picks. I poked it down in the little planter parts, and look how adorable these turned out. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. Please leave a comment below, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. These DIYs were really fun to do. And most of all, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.